How's it going, boys? The trick comes back, and we're back at it again with another video. This one is gonna be an awesome one. It's also gonna be short, but it's gonna be about the new Heartrune. Yes, I know. We just got the 5 that we have now. We're already getting a new one. But yes, with the iteration of the new Heartrune mutation, or I don't know if this is gonna be with the new Frankenstein mutation that they are doing, but the reward of that mutation is gonna be this one. Boom! The Bile Bomb is the brand new Heartrune that we are getting, and this one counters specifically healers, right? It's a nice dot, but it's mainly focused against healers. So healers beware. If you didn't get any love with this expansion that we just had, the Brimstone Sand, well, you're getting even less love, because look at this. They decide a Heartrune specifically to counter healers, and well, all the classes, but healer the most. Anyways, it's called the Bile Bomb. And it says, spit out a glove of corrosive bile that creates a 3.5 meter radius disease cloud on impact that lingers for 3 seconds. So basically, like I lost a spit forward. Blah! You know, we've seen this before in the game. It creates a cloud of like that, you know, bile for 3 seconds. Something similar to the throwing hatchet that leaves the disease on the floor. Enemies that enter the cloud are afflicted with a debuff that deals 20% Heartrune damage per second and reduce the healing by 30% for 8 seconds. Clouds takes on enemies on direct hit, meaning that if you spit on a target and that target it starts running all over the place in those 8 seconds, any enemy that gets touched by the cloud gets infected by the Bile Bomb, and every single one of them will have that 8 second of reduced healing, and on top of that is going to have that dot on them as well. Now they don't get the cloud is only on that one target that you hit directly. You can also throw it on the floor, and then anybody that goes by it, it will get infected, but it's not as fun as just one guy spreading the disease all over the place. And although it says that it drops from the last boss of Heartrune, you know, but they did say that they were combining Heartrune and Starstone, and we were going to see both bosses in there. I don't know exactly how they're adding this new mutation, or if they're just going to go ahead and make Heartrune mutation. All I know is that it drops from the last boss of Heartrune. I forgot his name. You know who I'm talking about. Simon, I think that's his name. Anyways, this one comes with a 3 iteration as well of Brutal, Cunning, and Stewards. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump and see what they do and look like. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Cunning version of the Bile Bomb. Now, the standard ability of the Bile Bomb, you know how every single one of the Heartrunes has one standard perk that doesn't change. The other one is the one that changed, right? Like the Brutal or the Cunning, etc. Those are the one that change. But the standard one for the Bile Bomb is that inflict a slow unsuccessful hit, reducing the target movement speed by 20% for 3 seconds. Meaning that whenever you hit a target with this, the target will be slow by 20% for 3 seconds. That is the one standard ability that doesn't change throughout the different variations of the abilities. But anyways, yes, the Cunning one. Exhausting Bile inflicts an exhaust on successful hits, reducing the target stamina regeneration by 30%. This is very, very good, especially if you're trying to chase down an enemy, or you use it on a healer, and now the healer starts dodging away, their stamina regeneration is going to be greatly reduced. So not only they're going to have the healing reduction, they're going to be slow, and their stamina regeneration is going to be slower. Basically, this one reminds me of a net shot. You know, just like a weaker version of the net shot, because the net shot, it's a slow for 7 seconds and is a exhaust for 8 seconds of 57%. So this one is basically a weaker version of the net shot, but it could potentially be AoE. But on top of that, it has that very, very strong anti-healing, and also the dot that lives in the enemy, which is not bad at all. And as you guys will see over here, whenever we use the ability, it's just the speed forward, and you guys will see the dot right there. It's a pretty nice dot, and it actually lasts on the target, well, for 8 seconds. It's a pretty nice amount of time. And if you have any modifiers like Gambit or something like that, it will also increase the damage of the Heartrune. The next one we're going to talk about is going to be the Brutal version, Okay, so just let me say something out there for those of you that might not have, know this already. So the brutal is always the offensive one, right? Brutal is always the one that deals the most damage. The stalwart is the one that it's always the healing effect. So it's the leashing vines or the storm form that heals you, and then the cunning is the one that has some sort of utility, like in a slow or something else that happened in there. So the cunning is for utility, the brutal is just for raw damage, and the stalwart is also for is always for self-sustained healing, etc. But anyways, here we are with a brutal version of it, which is this one is the offensive, version of it. And this one, it says healing reduction is increased by 50%. So previously was 30%, so this one puts it on 50%, and the damage increased to 30% per second, but the projectile no longer creates a cloud on impact, meaning that it's a single target shot. If you miss it, you miss it. It will no longer leave a cloud on the on the floor. Usually, if you don't want to miss on the enemy, you will use it straight onto the floor. That way you don't miss and you apply all of those anti-healings on that clump. But this one, if you go exactly for one target, you will doing some amazing things, because that anti-healing is reduced by 50% and the damage is increased by 30%. The only thing is that makes the projectile single target and not AoE. And the last version of the Bile Bomb is the Stalwart, and this one is the one that is going to be some sort of healing or self-sustain. And this one says, Mending Bile. Players who hit the afflicted targets are healed for 20% of the damage done, but the healing reduction is reduced to 15% and the damage over time is removed. So meaning that 30%, 20% weapon rune damage every second for a second, it's gone. And instead of being 30% anti-healing, it goes all the way down to 15% anti-healing. If you ask me, out of all of them, this one seems to be the weakest one, because yeah, it's 8 seconds, but 20% of the damage that you do, you get it back as health. Realistically, if we speed on somebody, yes, they will be slow for like 3 seconds, but usually they will not just stay in your face and trade damage with you. On top of that, why would you want, I don't know why this one, at least for me, doesn't make any sense. On top of that, it is bugged right now when I was testing it. So I was using it and it was not healing me for anything, nowhere close to the damage that I was doing. I think it might have like a cooldown because I was using the blunderbuss to heal myself, because I know the blunderbuss deals an insane amount of burst damage, so I would have been seeing a significant amount of healing received by this Heartrune whenever I was using it. I don't know if it is bug, but it's not working as it should, at least with the blunderbuss. But yes, now like I said, it heals you, supposed to heal you for 20% of the damage that you do to them, as long as they inflicted by the Bile Bomb, which it lasts 8 seconds. And but the healing that the healing reduction that they have is all the way down to 15%. So this one is pretty much just to like self-sustain for yourself. But once again, I don't see what the purpose of this one is, because if you use it to, it's like a little bit of anti-healing and then a little bit of self-sustain, but it really wouldn't match up, because if you're fighting against somebody and you spin on their face with this one, you will be missing a lot of damage that you do with that debuff, that that dot that you put on them. And on top of that, healing yourself for 20% of the damage that you're doing to the guy that you're fighting against, usually going to receive even more damage than the one that you are taking back by the rune itself. At least this one, I cannot theory craft with this one yet. It doesn't make too much sense to me. But for me, out of the three, this one is the weakest one. I really like the one for single target for like small scale PvP and duels and open world. But the other one, the cunning for large scale PvP, like imagine you use that in a war and you hit one guy, and that guy is running all over the place inside of the teammates, and before you know it, you are applying an insane amount of dots across the battlefield, the same in an OPR. And I think it'll be really fun and useful whenever we're talking about large scale. So yes, the brutal for small scale, single target, open world, the cunning for wars and large scale PvP, and the stalwart, I don't see any use for it as of now. So for me, just throw it in the trash, and we'll talk about it more in the future. Also, another thing to mention, it is actually a range ability, meaning that it has a lot of range. Is the first one of the Heartrunes that you can use from a very long range and not put yourself in danger. Apply that anti-healing and also apply that nice dot. So you could see a bunch of lost wannabe, but you know, guys just spitting from the distance. Stat padding in the clumps, also applying those anti-heal, which is that good kind of stat padding. And that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really did. I had a blast making it because I like the direction where the game is going, right? These new Heartrunes are always and will forever be changing the meta, and as long as they keep on adding these Heartrunes into the game, we will be having a ever evolving combat system. And I don't know if you guys see a pattern here, but they are pretty much releasing the Heartrunes related to all the type of mobs that we have inside of the game, right? We have the Darkest Sin, which comes from the Corrupted. We have the Vines that comes from the Angry Earth. All of the mobs in the Inuit Expedition, well, a lot of them are using that light magic, which is the one that we got the Detonate from. We got the Stormform from Lazarus the Ancient, and we got the Cannons from the Lost, and now the Spit, which is also from the Lost, but like a different type of Lost, the more zombie look. Well, you know what I mean. So meaning that the ones that we're missing is the Beast, Heartrune. I don't know how that would work. You turn yourself into a Wolverine, an alligator. I don't know. Listen, I'm not the guy making the Heartrunes. I'm just here to tell you guys whenever they make it and to see how they fit in the new meta, all right? But I do like it. I like that every time that in the future, if they add a new type of mob, and it's a completely new mechanic that we have never seen before and a new different lore, they can immediately add a different Heartrune into the game, and boom, just like that, the game evolved once again. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, go ahead and like it, leave a comment down below. It really helps the channel, it really do. For future changes to these rune, because it's bound to change. It's too early, right? This is just basically came out. So this rune, it's bound to change in the future. Just hit me up and I'll probably know the changes. If you guys have any question about the game in general, New World PvP and any other of those stuff, you know, thing related, just hop into the stream anytime and I will be so happy to help you out. But until then, cheers, boys.